Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stockton Psychology Student Organization's Graduate School Series. This is Jessica Berdosi, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, we're going to start this off by we need to make a chart to see what schools you would like to apply for. This is an example of a chart that I personally did. First, you need to identify my apologies. I hope you can see my mouse. I think you can. Okay, we're gonna go with it. As it's indicated up here, the title of this document is Grad School Chart Fall 2021. So I've identified what semester or cohort I want to attend to, and then from there, start doing a little bit more research on the programs I'm looking forward to attending and see what requirements they have. So let's start showing you by how the chart looks like. So I divided it up by different sections. So university name, deadline, so when are they due, requirements and fees, how much it's going to cost, contact info, and for privacy of the individuals that I do have their contact info, I blocked it off with a black box to be respectful of their private information. Mode of instruction, so is it an online course or is it in person? The typical program length. And then for me, I'm going for my master's degree in behavior analysis. So I had to do another research, which I'll also get into, like what exam I needed to take and what board was verifying whether or not I've taken that exam. So for me, it's the BACB, the Behavior Analysis Certified Board. But if you're going for your LMFT or your social work one, I think it's LCSW, which I'll also be getting into further in the series about where you can go for that and helping you guys along the way. So, but for sake of to continue with this example, I'm going for the BACB certified. And for me specifically, I need to see if it's the fifth task list. So one example is right here, we have Pepperdine. And then in bold letters, I researched whether or not they needed the GRE, the graduate record exam. And that's really important to know. That way you know how soon you need to take it, especially give yourself enough time. If you do have to retake it, you have that opportunity and you're not crunching everything and not giving yourself the opportunity to get the best scores you can because you're under time pressure. Then we go to deadlines. So I noticed majority of them, of the schools that I researched, have this early action application, and most of them have that same name, early action application. And what I've read up on in my research, it's really beneficial because you're showing that you're not procrastinating, one, and two, you're kind of like ahead in the line, kind of like in the DMV. And then just a quick note, I am in no means in a master's program. I'm an undergrad student, but what I'm showing here is what I've found being involved in the graduate school application process. So from what I've seen is that early action applications, pardon me, it's really beneficial to get those in from what I've observed. Moving on to the requirements and fees, submit application with process fee. So a lot of applications have a process fee, and I'd look into, just so you have a little quick note and you remember, especially if they state how much it is, I think in a couple of these, I actually put it in there. Yeah, so like for this particular school, I even highlighted it. It's $50. And so that way you kind of just keep track on how much you're paying and if you need a budget and do any of that. What other requirements? So whether they need your transcripts, any letters of recommendation, um, if you need a statement of purpose, and so forth. So definitely like write those down. Tuition, so how much is it going to cost? And then I also did some research of whether or not scholarships were available or if financial aid was available for this particular university. For easy access, I put contact info. So if this is a school, when you're doing your research, if it's a school you're really interested in, from my experience, I highly recommend giving them your contact info when they're asking for it, where typically they'll have a section where it's like if you want further information. And I know sometimes it seems like a little bit of a hassle because they're contacting you a lot, but they're contacting you a lot and it's actual academic advisors of those schools who are preparing you for that. But if you're not ready to, get all of that information, I definitely would like let them know that you're just looking into it and, that way they don't call you a whole lot thinking they're, trying to get another student. And then mode of instruction. This particular one is online. The typical program length, because it all dependent on how many units, of course, you take, how many classes you take. That way you kind of get an idea if that's going to be a factor of whether or not you want to pursue being accepted in this university. And then finally, I added in here of whether or not, again, specifically for me, if they were certified by the board that needs to be certifying them. And then, so I went ahead and I did that for all of the universities that I looked into, and I was like, I really want to go to that school. And so, especially so like for our lovely Stan State University, their master's program for the BCBA is they have a pigeon lab. And so that to me, believe it or not, was really important factor because of the whole Skinner experiment and how he personally trained a pigeon. And so the ability to do that, that was a factor for me that I appreciated. So whether or not you find that to be a factor, I personally did. And so forth. So I did that for all of them. And then towards the end, you can't really see that top row that I made here of like what needed to go in what square. So I just copied it and then paste it right underneath, and you can do so forth by right clicking on your mouse pad. And so it brings up this dialog box and you just scroll down to insert and then insert row below, and then I'll insert a row. Just make sure when you do that, you have clicked the very last row. So let me go ahead and delete that. But yeah, so that concludes this week's grad series video. I hope it was helpful. Leave in comments down below if you guys have any questions, comments, and or concerns. And SPSO will reach back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye.